Writing takes you into a zone, away from normal life. You're focused on a particular thing. This is why I'm not keen on, 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there. I like to get into it for a few hours. But for some people, I know they're mega busy, then maybe 15 minutes, writing a page might work for you. That's fine. There's no right and wrong in this. But when you write and you switch off from the world and you enter your new make-believe world, and coming back down to earth can be with a bump sometimes. A bit of disappointment. Oh, I've got to get back to my issues, my problems. I've got housework to do. I've got bills to pay. I've got things to do I don't really want to do. But writing is fantastic for taking you away from things that are bothering you. You can focus on something positive. And the thing is, you never know how big your own book can get. Look at George R.R. Martin, the books that he wrote. And then his books were turned into the massive series Game of Thrones. I mean, how amazing is that? I wonder if he dreamed of that happening when he was writing the books. Or I would think he was probably just so engrossed in what he was doing. He was enjoying his own entertainment. That's really what he was doing. He was making his own entertainment. So I love writing for all the aforementioned reasons. It helps that I can think fast and type fast. And even if most of my books are non-fiction, I have the added benefit of knowing that I'll be teaching somebody something. So I suppose it matches with my early career as a teacher and my part-time career as a college lecturer. So yeah, I'm teaching somebody something. I'm getting people to think in a different way. I'm getting people to research more information. I'm giving people ideas as to how they can make their life better, make their life happier, and even how they can earn money, more money, because, that's probably the number one searched thing on the internet, isn't it? The number one search term on the internet. How can I make more money? And we've all been in phases like that where you need more than you actually have coming in. Why I write. I started writing and these thoughts keep coming to my head and I want to remember what it is that I thought. When I'm out listening to sermons or talks in a course, or even if I'm in watching a talk or someone teaching something on YouTube, I like to write down something which really stands out. To be honest, I don't often go back and read what I've written, but it is nice to look at it maybe 6 months, years later. Oh yeah, that was really good. And if there are things that perhaps I need to take action on, then yes, I will kind of look back at it fairly quickly. So it really depends. Writing is something that transfers what's in your brain to permanency on paper, or if you're typing it on your screen, then you'll most likely save it, whether it's to your mobile phone or to your computer. Writing is brilliant for getting out those ideas in your head which are actually unique to you. Sometimes you think that other people are thinking the same as you, but they're not. Billions of people in the world and everybody thinks differently. That's a very interesting thing. But there are similarities to how some people think. And it's actually a joy to be able to read something from a person who's more or less similar to you. They have the same sensibilities, they have the same experiences, the same political leanings. There's something quite nice about coming across somebody who's speaking as if they're speaking to you, to your situation. And I've got to admit, I'm a book junkie. It's a kind of junkie that you want to be. No, I'm not an alcoholic, or I don't do drugs, don't smoke. I am a book junkie though. I love buying books, borrowing books. I had to ban myself from going to the library. I would continue to speak and give wisdom after I die. That's another good reason to write. my legacy perhaps would continue. There are some amazing books out there from people who died a long time ago or who recently died. But it's so good to be able to read about their life stories, to read about their wisdom, find out what they learned when they were on earth. And I've loved to read from since I was very young and continue in that vein, although I've got to admit that a lot of the reading I do now tends to be on the screen, either on my mobile or laptop. I do a lot of research for various things, which is fine. But it's wonderful to be able to lose yourself in a book, to be able to go into someone else's world, get someone else's imagination. I used to read a lot of I used to read a lot of fiction when I was younger. I was a teenager, which was great, opening up different worlds for me. But I found as I got older, I prefer non-fiction. So of all the 1,000 books I have at home, probably 90% are non-fiction. And they would usually be about anything that I'm interested in around that particular time. So there might be, say, 20 books on mathematics, which is what I did my degree in. There might be about 50 books on computing. There might be about 20 books on families. And, there's lots of different topics that I have. And it's interesting because not all have been read, as you can imagine. Some I might have read just a chapter. Some I might have not read at all. But there are times when I need to research something and you look online first and foremost, but then I look at some books and I was just like, oh, it's fantastic to just have this resource. I don't have to be popping down to the library. Here is a book that I have on it. And it's just brilliant. And it's been wonderful for my children too. And they also love to read. So that's a great thing. It's funny because they notice a difference if they go to other homes and there's not one book or even 10 books. It's very interesting because then their friends come and visit them here and they see all these books and they look around and wonder, oh, this is like a library. Yes, that's the idea. So why do I like to write? I like to write because I feel that it's a good way to let people know how you interpret a particular topic. It's a good way to present information that might be hidden. There are particular books. I mean, if I'm writing about a topic, there might be, say, 10 or 20 books that I use to research, as well as maybe 100 different websites. But I put all of that into a book in a concise way about a particular topic, in a way that I feel appeals to me, and that I therefore hope appeals to others. So I had this feeling about health just after Christmas in 2015, I think, or 2014. And I kept thinking about health, thinking about it a lot. And I just started to do some research around it. And then I wrote a health book about wheatgrass because I found so much information about wheatgrass. And how I came across wheatgrass is that I was thinking about growing some plants in the home which had health properties. So I was looking up fast-growing healthy herbs, and I came across wheatgrass. I thought, oh, what's this wheatgrass then? And I found reams and reams of information. I was just so struck by it. So, of course, I ordered some wheatgrass, the real thing, in seed version, thinking, I'll grow some wheatgrass at home. Didn't work for me, I'm afraid. Watered these seeds and nothing was appearing. So I don't know what happened there. So then I ordered some real wheatgrass, which is grown and sent out as young shoots. And I was blending those and drinking that. Not very nice, actually. It's like you're drinking grass, but apparently it's good for the body. And I also ordered some wheatgrass in tablet form. So it was interesting noticing the difference in my body when I started having wheatgrass. And I thought, oh my goodness, I have to tell people about this. So that's why I wrote the book. And then while I was doing research for wheatgrass, I found other information around health. So I wrote 2 other health books. One with quick tips about health called 3-Minute Health. And then I wrote another book about longevity because I was fascinated about, regions in the world where people were just living a long, long life, Okinawa in Japan, and it was in it's an area in America. There was a lot of Seventh-day Adventists. They also had long life. And also an area in Italy. I can't even remember the areas now. It's been a long time since I wrote the book, but it's in my longevity book. Everything's covered in there. So I remember sending the book off to someone to review, proofreading review. Somebody I'd known for a while, actually. And he was like, oh, wow, I didn't know you had this in you. I was like, when someone says that to you, you kind of think, oh, you didn't think that highly of me then. But I was kind of honored at the same time that they should think the book was good. So it's nice to be able to write something that people learn something from. And in the case of the health books, hopefully will help to extend their lives. And then I wrote another book. In fact, the first book I wrote was about motivation for teenagers. And I think that was around 2003. I wrote that because I'd seen so many young people wasting their time. I used to be a school teacher, and I was teaching secondary school children, and yes, I saw them wasting time in school. And also, I knew a lot of them were wasting their time outside of school too. So I was trying to motivate them to actually achieve from a younger age. So I wrote Motivation for Teens, and then later on I wrote another book which is about motivating adults called Radical Motivation. But I did have a friend come back to me and say, Dawn, it's not radical enough. They said my book, Radical Motivation Strategies, is not radical enough. I was like, oh, okay. But those books are out there, and I'm sure they're helping people because people are buying them. So that's good. Writing a book is not always about, I'm going to make money out of this. Sometimes it's about helping someone. And I remember somebody who, I don't know if they were traveling in transit from India, but they wanted to meet me to actually get a copy of the book, Wheatgrass. And they were quite, very much interested in meeting me and getting the book. And I was like, wow, really? From India to London, UK? So I've always felt that if I'm able to help one person with the book, then, the few months that I've spent writing the book will have been worthwhile. But I suppose looking at things more broadly, yes, it would be nice if I can help more than one person with each book. Will Smith recently started saying that, oh, I've sold 1 million of my books, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. So then I wrote in one of the groups I'm in, oh, what can I sell 1 million of? I thought, wow, it must be wonderful. Even if you're only getting 50 cents per book, because the publisher's taking all the rest, that's still quite a bit of money. And his book was only published about 3 or 4 months ago. So good for him. But, he has a celebrity stock behind him. And not that I'm rushing to be a celebrity or anything like that, but I think that I better look at my marketing strategies because I want to affect as many people as possible with the great work that I know that I put out there. And I'm in the middle of writing another 3 or 4 books. Not one, because I'm one of those people that has to multitask. I can't work on one thing only. I've got to do several things at a time. Yep, that's me. I have to do several things at a time. But I'm trying to be a bit more disciplined where that's concerned, because then that could mean that things last. But the fact that I've written about 20 books already shows to you that, I am getting things done. But it does mean I have to set time aside. So I do that periodically, where for 1 or 2 weeks, I'm just focused on writing and finishing the book. And I say 1 or 2 weeks because I'm not into people who say, oh, yes, I've been writing this book for 12 years. I don't even want to know that kind of thing, to be honest, because I just feel that 12 years is going to end up being 20 years, so that doesn't impress me at all. I think there comes a time where you have to set a deadline and say, right, I'm going to do this book in three months. And that's what I suggest that people do. Aim for 3 months, because then that means that you put aside a concentrated amount of time to finish a book, whether it's early morning or in an evening after work or lunchtime. And it's so much easier to write a book now. I mean, you can talk like I'm talking now, and you can get it transcribed. Word has a section where you can dictate the content of a book, and then you can just go through and edit. It's so much easier to write a book now. Or you can hire someone to do the transcription for you and make sure the English is perfect. It's not even just about sitting down at the computer anymore and type from dawn till dusk. So many different ways of doing it now. And those people who want to write books and say, right, I've got an idea, and I'm just telling somebody what the idea is, and they go, I'm not keen on that kind of books. I want to know what's in the author's heart. That's what I want to know. I don't want to know what your ghostwriter is thinking. I want to know what what are you thinking? What's in your head? But I suppose people are different. So I write to affect people. I like to inform people, and I want to affect and improve their lives. And while I'm doing that, I'm affecting and improving my own life. So it kind of rebounds onto myself. And I hope that the books that I write will at some point affect you. At some point, you may want to check out what I've written. At some point, you may want to consider writing your own book. Maybe you've written books that you think, there's a topic that I'm thinking about. Maybe I should put my own interpretation on it. If you think of even one word, love, everyone's got their own experience of love, their own interpretations of love. And there can be 200 books out there about love, and each one will be different. So don't think, because someone's done a book on love, I can't do it. Because you're coming from a different angle. And you can definitely write something about love. Whether it's love from a point of view of partners, male-female relationship, female-female relationship, mother-daughter, father-son, children. So many different aspects of love. There's so much that you can get out of a deep topic like that if you were to sit down and do a mind map around love, just put down all the words around love that you can think about, And that helps you with your book. There you go. Right, 50 words related to love that come into your mind when you think about love. Write those 50 words down on the page. At the end of that, you've got the backbone for your book. You start detailing each of those words and how you feel you've experienced it or how you feel other people around you have demonstrated love. So, I hope that's helpful. If you want to write, get writing. I encourage you to do so. There's no harm in 7 billion people around the world writing their own book or books. I don't think you can ever have too many books. But of course, we know that 7 billion people are not going to write a book. It's more like 0.001% of people will write a book. And if you're listening to this, I presume you're interested in writing, or you might be interested in me as a person. You just want to know a bit more about me. But either way, I'd like to encourage you to write. And of course, I'd like to encourage you to read my books. They're available as ebooks or print books. And some are also available as audiobooks. Also note that children can also write books. Any child who can write a story at school can write a book. So, maybe it's an idea we should be putting in our children's head from early. Never know. They can write a book, they can draw pictures, or you can get a graphic artist or a visual artist to illustrate a book. They could be making their own little pocket money. And you never know. They might become a prolific writer later on. These are experiences we should be putting to our children. It's not that hard. It really is not that hard.
Yeah, I'd like my legacy to continue after I'm gone. I know I'm not immortal. I know I won't last forever. And yeah, it'd be good for my children also to benefit from what I've done while I've been here. As you may or may not know, I am black. I am of Caribbean extraction. Although born in the UK, I spent some time in the Caribbean. About 6 years actually. Returned back to the UK when I was 11 and stayed ever since. And so I come in with a different perspective, I suppose, which is interesting for people. And also, there are actually not many black writers in terms of the percentage of a population or percentage of a race. There would be more white writers in terms of percentage of the white people than black writers in terms of percentage of the black people. So, got to do something for the team. Got to try and get books out there so people will know that we also write, we also have brains, we also have wisdom. Actually, we have a lot of wisdom. And with the way that things are, when you live in the Western society, which is not perceivably your host country. In other words, if I lived in the Caribbean now, that would seem to be my host country because I'm black. If I live in, Jamaica or Antigua or Barbados. I live in England where the majority of people are white. So I think it's interesting for people to find out what my life and my thoughts are. I may be wrong. You might not actually be interested at all, but in some things, black people would think differently based on our stories, based on our history, based on the things that we've experienced. Having said that, most of my books are for all humanity, not just for black people. They're for white, Asians, yellow, pink, whatever color your hair is. They're for old and young. I like to be solution oriented. So when I write about a problem, I give a solution soon after. I try not to leave people high and dry. And even writing non-fiction, I like to have some story elements in there to make it more interesting. Maybe some humor as well. And when there's a conundrum, I give my viewpoints for different options. because not everything is black and white. Sometimes there are, you know, points was just kind of muddied in the middle. So I like to give my own critical analysis of what's going on. Interestingly enough, one of my daughters is writing a book, and that's quite amazing because, you know, she seems to be following in my footsteps. Oh, I was very happy about that when she told me she was going to do that. The book is going to be a doorstopper though. So her first book, and it seems like it's going to be one of those books that's probably about 2 inches in thickness. She's been writing it for a couple of years now, and I suspect she probably has another year or so on it. She's actually hoping it will turn into a film and also into a computer game. And of course she can do it, you know. I make sure I teach young people about confidence. Believe you can do what you want to do. And if you don't know how, you can find out how. There's so many different ways to find out how now. You know, this goes for people of all ages, actually. You know, not just young people. You want to write a book? Write a book. Just take the time out and do it. You want to make a blockbuster film? Well, who says you can't? Write the story. Get in touch with people who can finish the screenwriting for you. Get in touch with directors, producers, film studios. There are so many possibilities out there. Please don't ever feel that, oh, this dream is too big. I don't think it's too big, not at all. So I was discussing this with my daughter, the writer, the other day. Well, she's not just a writer, she does other things too. She did a law degree and she's doing some legal work for a real estate firm. And she also models. She's a fashion model. It's good to be able to experience different things in life, I think. You know, you don't have to feel you do one career and that's the only thing you ever do in your life. Please don't do that. It's a waste of life, a waste of time. There's so many things that we can do. I also write for financial reasons. When you're writing, you're not in a position of earning because you've got to focus and you haven't produced something yet for people to pay for. So you hope that by the time you finish the book, it will be sold widely and that you'll earn some money from it. What would be nice is if it was sold in enough numbers so that you're getting passive income. People are buying it while you sleep, whether it's in ebook format, printed book format, or audio book format. So financial reasons, it's as good a living as any, but not all writers actually benefit from a substantial income. I would imagine most writers make some money, but not enough for that to be their only profession. But, you know, there are ways that you can make it your only income or a substantial income stream. And I would tend to talk to people who want coaching from me about that. So I hope that you've enjoyed So I've shared a bit about my thought processes with regards to why I write. And I will continue to write now. Lovely talking to you. Thank you for your time. Have a great day and happy writing. Bye.